Hi, I'm Danger Dan Jers, the host and GM of the D&D Real Play podcast, D&D Dark. Join us on Wednesdays for an absurd, over-the-top comedy horror adventure, starring some of history's most infamous monsters.
I'm Ben Magnet. I play Mary Frankenstein, our barbarian.
I am Daniel Cruz. I am playing Imhotep the Mummy, our cleric.
I'm Jordan, and I play Larry Talbot, a lycanthropic warlock.
I am Grayson, playing Jack Griffin, the Invisible Man, the party's rogue.
I am Aaron. I play the Phantom of the Opera, our bard.
For more information, go to dndarkpodcast.com and listen to us anywhere you find podcasts.
You've read the books. You've learned the rules. You've played the games. And so is your mom. Just making sure you're paying attention. Now, it's time for something completely off base. From the same guys who haven't done anything exciting yet are the Paladins of Podcast, Rob and Potato. Listen in as they talk about all things related to pen and paper games, challenge rules, and go off script. This is the high fantasy commentary you didn't ask for, but your mom did. This is the Epic Table Audio Show.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Epic Table Games audio show with the Paladins of Podcast, Rob and Potato.
Rob and Potato. What's up, Potato?
I'm doing all right. Have you read any good books lately?
Actually, my wife...
We're not a Barnes & Noble podcast now, are we, Rob?
No, we're not. But my wife found some really good books that sound cool.
We will get to that in another episode.
Fair enough, because we're not a Disney podcast either.
We're not a Disney. Tonight we're going to be talking about some unheard of RPGs that kind of came under our radar.
Yeah, not necessarily unheard of, but just new to us at least.
New to us at least.
Yep.
We would like to talk about these games and hopefully bring it out to your guys' ears and expand the community a bit more.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Another things we would like to talk about as well is like the good level to be when you end a campaign.
Yeah, now the thing about that is I think right here at these two topics that we want to talk about will actually take up a lot of this episode.
I think so as well.
And for the reason is because there's actually quite a few tabletop RPGs that we want to bring up and look into a little bit, and we'll kind of give a description of each one that we come across. And then the level to end a campaign, I got a lot of feelings about that. You know quite a bit of those.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, it's... In fact, anybody can probably guess what my feelings are about picking a level to end at.
It's a very good topic because it's a lot of things that new players and veteran players alike still have discussions about.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. You know, what level do we end on this? So before we get too far off topic, let's start with some of these games that just kind of popped up. I told you about one earlier. Do you remember what that was?
I can't remember exactly. Were any of these games Kickstarter actually launched or about to be launched?
One of them, two of them, at least, are Kickstarter. Okay. One for sure, and that's the person that we'll talk about.
Hell Knight.
Yeah, and so Zach, if you guys remember Zach, he was on our podcast a few weeks ago.
Yep.
He filled in for you for an episode, and he sent it to me because he thought it'd be really interesting. And it's called Hell Knight. It is currently on Kickstarter, and it will be going through, I want to say, early into January. So if you guys want to back this project, it's cool. But here is the quick synopsis given by Dicebreaker.
Dicebreaker, that sounds cool.
Yeah, it's actually one of the best places for dice-based games, really. I mean, we're podcasting a lot of this stuff, but they really cover a lot more. They say, Hell Knight is a tabletop RPG set on an Earth that has been besieged by the Archons of Satan, with the King of Darkness himself threatening to awaken and spread chaos once again. The player characters are approached by a heavenly entity and told they must rid the world of the invading demons before dawn arrives. Otherwise, the legions of heaven will arrive to finish the job, and possibly the entirety of humanity for them. As a gang of combat motorcyclists, the players must take down the hellish fugitives one by one and send them back to hell before it's too late.
Of motorcyclists?
Yeah.
That's legit.
Yeah. Yeah, so it says that Hell Knight provides players and game masters with all the tools they need to organize, run, and experience a one-shot session or entire campaign. The rulebook itself features a collection of artwork inspired by metal album covers, as well as an optional rule system that's designed to help newer players get their heads around role-playing.
Yeah, this definitely sounds like a metal RPG, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Players will also need to anticipate witnessing a heavy amount of ultra-violence when playing Hell Knight, as the RPG is also inspired by genre movies, particularly horror and cult films, with both player characters and enemies able to wield powerful weaponry and cast infernal spells.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually sounds incredibly fun.
It does sound like really fun. If you got the right group, man, you can have a blast with this game.
Dude, I like the fact that it sounds very similar to an old school. I won't say old school, but I want to say it was called Feng Shui.
Feng Shui.
That sounds familiar. That sounds almost right. But it was about essentially movie cutscenes. Were your rounds essentially, and things had to go down in these individual scenes, and it was very quick, action paced, fun but a little bit complicated. Hell Knight here sounds like it was really designed to be fast and aggressive, fun, obnoxious, similar to the Heavy Metal movie. The cartoon.
That's what I was imagining when we were reading that. I was imagining the Heavy Metal movie, man.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Dude, same here. And honestly, I mean, as guys who have seen it, probably when we were a little too young to have watched it the first time, fell in love with it for the wrong reasons. Now, if you're not familiar with Heavy Metal or its sequel, Heavy Metal 2000, it's not
as good.
Not for children. Okay, it is rated R for a reason, more than just grotesque amounts of violence. You know, there's plenty of nudity and sexual scenes and whatnot.
Drug, sex, and violence is definitely prevalent.
Absolutely, like it's a regular David Fincher movie. So, but it's good. When Zach told me about Hell Knight, we talked about it briefly, and based on what it is, what it sounds like, I like the way it's talking, particularly because it's the roaring 80s, essentially.
Exactly. It's that theme, that genre.
Uh-huh.
You have so much you got to imagine right away.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I'm not familiar with is what sort of dice system it uses, because it doesn't say much about it.
Oh.
So we're not sure if it's a D6 or a D20 based system, or a D10 like the Dragon Ball Z theme that I'm working on for a passion project is. Dude, like you don't even know. And yeah, it's one of those things. And speaking of,
sounds very Iron Maiden. You know, like I really want to play that game. Hell Knight.
Yes. It sounds fun. I don't even care if it's horror-based. I mean, I like horror-based games anyway.
I would love to do an actual horror campaign. Like, really lean in and actually try to enjoy the creepy and scary aspects of it.
Yeah, in fact, there are actually other games. I think we've briefly talked about it, and they do okay. But for when it comes to tabletop horror films, TTRPG...
I know Pathfinder has the Adventure Path, Strange Eons.
Yeah.
That's like very horror driven.
Yeah. In fact, people rate kind of the best horror tabletop games. Call of Cthulhu is
highly regarded.
Yeah, and I mean it came from Master of Horror H.P. Lovecraft's work. Yeah. And so, in fact, oh my god, I can strangle some people here. Because the book, the Necronomicon. Alright, I'm going to go off on a small tangent again. The Necronomicon was never mentioned prior to H.P. Lovecraft. Ever. So therefore, without being an actual book, it's only a fictional book.
Right.
Now, after its mentioning and subsequent compilation of things did it actually become a real book, and it is now a real book, which is fine, but it is not what cultists keep telling me it is.
Wait, you speak to cultists on a regular basis?
So,
like you're at the water cooler with some coffee.
So, I'm not sure if it's been noticed here. I'm a stir the pot kind of guy, and I'm very strongly opinionated on certain things. In fact, that's why I feel totally confident in telling people that their ideas of certain rules are stupid and to drop their guff. So anyhow, when I feel like I'm in the right, I go out into the vast world of other egotistical people who think they're right. I mean, that's where we all go. It's called the internet.
Yeah, that's true.
In fact, there's nobody wrong on the internet.
Yeah,
right?
That's true too.
The internet is to knowledge in which prison is to innocent people. Is the place we're all just forced to go at some point, apparently.
Exactly.
Anyhow, we talked. I talked to a group of people for a while about this book, and they're like, "Oh, the Necronomicon's real, and it's all this, and it's all this," and they're like, "It's bound in flesh." And I'm like, "Bro, you're thinking about the book from The Night of the Living Dead. Not the I'm sorry.
The Evil Dead.
The Evil Dead by Sam
Army
Raimi.
of Darkness.
Army of Darkness. And they're like, no, not the same book. And this is what it looks like. And that's a screen cap of the book, okay? I know what that book looks like. I'm a huge movie nerd.
I love that movie.
So, what you're referencing is not the Necronomicon. It kind of based in part of the Necronomicon, yes, but... You know, here's where you're falling short. Well, it's got all these dark spells and blah, 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 blah in it, like this. And I'm like, well, now you're referencing this book that I just recently picked up on Amazon because I wanted to make shit more realistic. And these spells are stupid. Okay, they're not working. This is kind of
they're not working.
They're kind of where you're falling short here, buddy. And they're like, no, the Necronomicon is real. I'm like, look, bud, it was first referenced from H.P. Lovecraft here at this year. No, it's been around much longer than that. It's based off of this book. I'm like, oh, so this Egyptian book you're talking about, the Egyptian Books of the Dead, which is not the Necronomicon, you have no idea what it is, but you're telling me that's what it is? Yeah. I'm like, all right, we can't do this.
That's a way to really bastardize the knowledge and the timeline of how things happened.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, again, like I said, I go out to the internet where everybody is right and everybody has an opinion and we all try to prove each other wrong. Okay? Now the fact that I have
Bigfoot's real though.
Dude, I don't even want to get me started on Bigfoot. Okay? In fact, I think Mitch Hedberg, the late comedian, put it best. Maybe he's just blurry.
Exactly.
And that's why all the pictures of him are blurry. It's just him.
You know how crazy of an idea that is? That he's just a blurry figure. I love it.
Incredible. You know, talking about this briefly, I think it's funny because you know that I've got a chest full of dice. Like a small treasure chest full of dice.
Yep.
I did not curate dice over a extended period of time. I was incredibly lazy, and I just bought pounds of dice to fill this with. All right. In fact, the dice are not for me; they're for people who forgot their dice. Or if you need 1,000,000 D6s, I've got them now.
Exactly.
But what I realized is that nerds collect dice, and then they show them off. Like a dick measuring contest.
Kind of.
I've got a fucking chest full, okay?
Like, dude, look at my new car.
So seriously, my nerd dick is bigger and harder than most of these people. Stop arguing with me about this crap, okay? I got a chest full of dice. I know. In fact, I think I also want to say that for as much as I really enjoy storytelling and lore and mythology, I'm considering a degree in mythology and lore. Yeah, I think it's just a totally useless degree. But
if you actually pick up anything they didn't know already, it'll help you out as a DM, you know, so there's that.
I'm not even concerned about that. It's just, I've got all of this stuff rattling on in my head, and I'm like, let's put it to use.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah. I don't remember what we're talking about. I'm pretty sure
we were still talking about the Necronomicon, I think.
No, I don't want to talk about the Necronomicon. Okay, if you believe the Necronomicon is real, all right, stop right now. Okay? Just burn your frickin' cloak. All right? Put your ankh away. Get your Eye of Horus tattoo covered up. All right? Stop watching The Mummy, okay? Brendan Fraser's been out of Hollywood for a long time.
Well, I'll be honest, this tattoo of the Eye of Horus was from Yu-Gi-Oh! Just coincidence.
So there's
Dude,
the Alien.
talk about Yu-Gi-Oh!
There's also the Alien role-playing game.
An alien, like the Xenomorph alien?
Yes.
Dude, that'd be cool.
Yes. Now, the thing about the Alien role-playing game is that they say it is an adaptation of one of the best horror films and a fitting homage that does the movie justice.
That's legit.
So I think one of the cool things here is, do you remember the Alien video game?
Isolation?
I don't remember.
The one where it's like just you and the aliens like trying to find you and stuff.
I guess so. They hailed it as one of the coolest video games of the year.
Yeah.
And it was like super true to the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was Alien Isolation. Really good game.
This is supposed to be able to kind of equate pretty well. It says players can choose from a number of different roles, including greasers, pilots, and cooperative representatives, with each one having some amount of expertise in a certain area. However, none of the roles are particularly... Dude.
It happens. To me all the time. I know how it is.
Like, it feels like I got a fat tongue. Never mind the fact that I got it pierced twice. None of the roles are particularly strong in their own right, and characters will be vulnerable when faced with any threats, especially those of the xenomorph kind.
That'd be legit to play.
Yeah, it sounds kind of fun. I know
you can probably emulate that in Pathfinder even.
You know what? We're trying to branch out farther than just Pathfinder at this point.
I know. Just that I still only play Pathfinder, so that I keep thinking it'd be cool to convert this. I already have this game.
Right. I don't want to buy another $50 rule book.
That's basically what it comes down to. You got me.
Dude, I get it. In fact, we've even talked about that briefly off mic. It's people wanted to talk about their collection of role-playing books, and I'm a part of a few D&D groups, a few Pathfinder groups, and so they were like, dude, check out this picture of my collection, and it's, every D&D 5th edition book that's been released so far.
Right.
And people are like, oh man, I've just started, I've got like 4 of them, and somebody's like, I've been collecting these books for the past 10 years, but it's D&D 5e has been out for 10 years, so it's just D&D 5e books.
Right.
And I'm like, maybe I won't show my picture of my collection.
The various game systems and their editions and their add-on supplemental books.
Yeah, like
right.
I've got most of the D&D 3.5 material, 3rd edition material, a lot of the 2nd edition Advanced Dungeons and Dragons material. I got half of everything for 4th edition. I've got every hardcover Pathfinder book. I have Savage Worlds and most of the expansions. I've got all of TSR's classic Marvel superheroes. I've got Mutants and Masterminds. I mean, I've got a lot of this stuff. And people are like, why don't you just stick with one? I'm like, well, I generally play one. But some of these systems are really freaking cool.
Exactly.
Why not? I like a lot of genres. Like fantasy is my go-to. And like medieval fantasy, Tolkien-based fantasy, that's my go-to. I love Tolkien-based fantasy. Yeah. But every now and then a Space Marine seems fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
I mean, seriously, dude, the way they're depicted in most media, video games and movies, they seem like real badasses. Granted, when I said movie, Starship Troopers came to mind, and they're kind of whiny bitches.
But doing a Starship Trooper game,
sure,
that'd be so cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we keep talking about space too, and I just came across a new one that I was not familiar with at the bookstore earlier.
The Expanse.
Yes, I forgot I told you about it. So it's by GreenRonin, and they're the guys who actually did Mutants and Masterminds. Yeah. And the Dragon Age. Yep.
Jinx. Haha. Give me a soda.
No way.
It's right over there.
No way. So, yeah, the Expanse seems pretty cool. And we talk about rolling with Space Marines and outer space style games. And I just recently picked up Starfinder. So we'll start looking at the rules into that and getting the grasp of that game. And I'm
really
sure
want to dive into Starfinder, man.
I'm sure that'll be sometime next year because they already have so many books. I'm like, God damn it, I got to buy all these books now. But hey, you know what? Add into that collection. Okay, like, oh my God, I don't mean to. This sounds horrible. These things cost money, and money does not come out of trees.
That's true.
All right, and my wife and I are not rich.
No.
By any means. And we will sit down and look at, everything from our bills to grocery, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to buy a book. And for like 3 or 4 weeks, I'll invest, $50 to $100, and all of a sudden we'll be behind on a bill I forgot. So it's not that I'm being irresponsible to the max. It's just I'm pretty laser focused. And that's why I build these collections, all right? I don't want people to think, God, this guy has like millions of dollars in disposable income. No, I don't. I'm just bad with getting so laser focused on something that I forget about something else, okay? Our main bills are paid.
Oh, no, the phones got shut off. Oh, that's right.
Dude, that has happened to me before years ago, and I didn't like it.
Oh, yeah.
However, Spectrum keeps screwing me around. Dude, I didn't tell you. I did not tell you. So, Spectrum Mobile has this commercial out, and it's like, for new members, service is $30 for like a line.
Right.
I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I'm on the $45 a line plan. I call them up. Hey, I want to switch to the cheaper plan. It's better. No, that's for new customers. I'm like,
that's
what?
When you cancel and come back in.
So I asked them about that, and it's like, oh, it will take about 2 months to clear out the entire system. So now what I'm doing is I'm looking for ways to keep my phone number and going to a slightly cheaper service plan to come back to an even cheaper service plan, because I'm tired of getting dicked around on this kind of stuff. Oh my God.
And the thing is, I hate how a lot of these service plans, they give you this like, oh, well, it's like a sign-on discount. Then after the year, now you get upcharged another $15 or so. It's hard for me to even survive as it is. Thank you for upcharging it just because I've been a loyal customer. Thanks.
Right.
Makes me feel like I should stick around.
Right.
And not just drop and be another new customer for someone else.
Right.
Come on. It makes no sense.
It's horrible. It's horrible. So we were talking about space-based games, right?
Yeah, we were on Expanse.
Right. And I'm not...
Final Frontier.
I'm not familiar with it, but the description from GreenRonin says the Expanse RPG is based on the exciting new Modern Age rule set. And Modern Age, I want to say, is one of their other games. And it includes many of its features, such as customized character building using backgrounds and professions, drives for character engagement, and an abstract resources system. Now, here is something I'm a little nervous about because it says abstract resource system.
What does that mean?
Well, I found that usually when they say abstract resource system, it's stupid. All right?
It's a little against the grain.
Yeah. In fact, if it said ended against the grain resource system, you'd be like, I don't know about that. But it says abstract, so you're like, all right, I'm cautiously going into
this.
It's
an art style choice.
It also makes use of modern age approach to action, exploration, social encounters, complete with stunts and systems for all of them.
That's cool. It sounds like they got a lot of things figured out.
Yeah, and I mean, that's when you're working with a pre-existing system, it doesn't really interfere too much. Hold on, I'm bringing something up. What's really cool is the Modern Age RPG. Yeah, I'm familiar with Modern Age RPG. And the Game Master Kit, it's kind of the easiest thing to look at. It's got your 3-panel, just like a GM screen. The Modern Age, though, there's something about it. I want to say that Modern Age is similar to Savage Worlds in the way that they do their expansions,
okay,
and their other content. Modern, yeah. As of right now, without getting into Modern Age, it's not really on my radar, so I haven't looked into it too much. I want to say it's another GreenRonin thing. There it is. There. No. Nope. Basic rule book. Here we go. Yes, GreenRonin. Modern Age role-playing game lets you shape the setting to suit your style, whether it's gritty action with high adventure, urban fantasy, like my man Dresden from the Dresden Files. Urban fantasy, bro. Or a dystopian future with new classes, character building system, 20 levels of advancement, optional rules for psychic and magic powers. So instantly when they say 20 levels, I'm thinking it's very similar to the D20 style, because most of those are 20 levels.
No.
No, here we go. A game based on action, exploration, and social stunts. Roll doubles on 3 6-sided dice and something cool happens. So it sounds more like...
The Dragon Age?
Yeah, with a D6 system.
And don't they also have the game system called Fantasy Age as well? Is that all kind of connected? Except for Dragon Age, I'm assuming.
Actually, I would consider... I would even go so far to say, based on what I'm reading, very briefly, this is not a full in-depth look. If somebody wants to jump on our Facebook group and sort of talk about this with us, that'd really help. But it seems like they're all based around a core rule set outline.
And just kind of expanded and tweaked and like went this way, went that way.
Yeah, that's how it feels.
That
That's
makes
how it
sense.
sounds. And it's cool. I dig it. I do like the Dragon Age 3D6 system. And the D6 system that I'm also familiar with from other games is very similar. You know, plus and minuses, yes and no's, beat the score, add up your dice, and you subtract your opponent's dice, and that's the difference, and that's damage done. So it all works. It's cool. I like a lot of these different systems.
I like the idea of the modern age. It sounds pretty unique compared to like what we've been playing forever, which is very fantasy.
Yeah, and like I said, I love I love Tolkien fantasy.
Yeah,
like that's like my go-to.
Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, but sometimes you get bored of it, and there are others that are more modern, such as, we'll say, City of Mist pops up real quick, and City of Mist. Myths and legends are born into modern-day people. Hard-boiled detectives and cunning mob lords hold the mythic powers of characters like Alice in the Wonderland, the Big Bad Wolf, the Monkey King, and Gilgamesh.
Interesting.
Yeah, and another one that I really like, let me bring it up here too, because this one I've actually had the rule books on my phone for years, and it's really, really cool. The idea is that you are children of gods. It's called Scion. And as the children of gods, you actually, it's like 3 or 4 full rule books. And you start out at level 1, and you're just like the entry level guy.
Oh, okay.
And then each subsequent book afterwards, you're the next tier up until you're full god.
That's pretty cool.
It is a very neat system. It's one that I've wanted to play, but I don't talk to a lot of people about it because, I mean, it's interesting. But again, it's another rulebook system that we have to buy.
Right.
It's another system we have to learn, and it's another one that I got to get people on board with learning.
Right. I'll be on board for it. That sounds cool.
Yeah, and the City of Mist sounds pretty cool.
There's this one RPG that I kind of forgot about until we started recording. It's a Sailor Moon role-playing game.
Really?
I shit you not. So from what I remember exactly is you pick like classes, like what kind of abilities you want to do, because it's all kind of various, of course. And you got stats for when you're running around as your school teenage self, and then your persona when you get into the Sailor Moon form. You don't have to play as a girl.
No, obviously.
Yeah, obviously no. Whenever I bring up Sailor Moon, everyone else is like, "Oh, well, why'd you want to do that?" Blah blah blah. You don't have to.
No.
But then it's kind of like a different stat block when you transform. Of course, you got all these abilities, and from what I remember correctly, the core system when it comes to the dice, it's hard for me to remember because, like I said, I forgot about it until just now. I think you roll like a couple d6 or 1d6, but your stats are it's like a threshold.
Okay.
So if you roll a dice and it gets past your threshold of your score, then you fail. So rolling low is actually better for you. So I thought that was interesting because it's like golf in that sense.
Yeah.
Like rolling a 1 is actually good.
Yeah.
And it's so different and interesting. If I get the time, I'll look it up and tell you some more about it off the mic. This sounds interesting enough.
Yeah,
it's like that anime superhero kind of deal. You don't even have to take the banner of Sailor Moon or anything like that. That's just the name of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I like the way it sounds, and I'm not a huge Sailor Moon fan, but truthfully, anything that gets people into the game,
right?
I don't just mean Sailor Moon. I just mean tabletop games in general.
Yeah.
I think is incredible, and I think having so many different things that fit the bill to fandom are absolutely worth it. And I also believe that the market is super oversaturated with so many different things. But the fact is that they're oversaturated because people are trying to fill a niche that they don't have something in.
Right.
And that allows for an incredible expanse of new material.
Exactly.
And thinking about, we're talking about modern settings here. And, like I said, I came across the one here that's City of Mist. And I told you about we found the modern age that fits in with GreenRonin Publishing. And obviously there's Catalyst Games. They've got Shadowrun. That's set modern to future, and that's cyberpunk style. And again, I like cyberpunk. In fact, excuse me, if there was a game based off of the book Snow Crash, which I'm not sure if you're familiar with.
I think you told me a while back that's kind of like Ready Player One.
Yeah, to a degree.
To a degree,
for sure.
Doing that as a tabletop system would be pretty neat.
I think so. I think it'd be incredible.
Heck yeah, I'd play it.
There are games like Besem, Big Eye, Small Mouth, which is anime themed. There are games that really kind of fit that bill because anime fits everything into one go.
It really does. It really does.
So you can use the rules there and definitely have a Ready Player One or cyberpunk style world where everybody jacks into the internet. I found this one that sounds kind of interesting. Nawal. The reason I'm having a hard time pronouncing this is because it's a Mexican role-playing game.
Nahual?
Nawal? I'm not sure.
Huh.
I don't want to butcher it, but it looks interesting. It looks kind of cool. It's a tabletop RPG of Mexican urban fantasy. In fact, honestly, check this out. It is live on Kickstarter right now. It looks like. Let's see. Nope, it's not. It was funded, and it was funded in less than an hour.
Wow, so people really dug it.
Yeah, they were looking for $3,000, and they came out with $65,000.
That's amazing.
$65,000. Absolutely, I love it. So that's one of those really cool things too. And the reason I definitely wanted to talk about some of these newer systems, I know that we talked about Wander Home.
Yeah.
Which looks really cool. It
does.
looks like more of just a smooth adventure, less combat kind of game.
Yeah.
And I like that. I got the PDF for it, and I've slowly been reading through it. The artwork is really beautiful in that, by the way. The entire book, I only have the PDF, but it makes me want the printed version.
Just because
it's awesome.
So pretty.
Yeah, dude, for sure. But there's a game coming out March 29th, 2022.
I want this game so bad.
That I'm really anticipating. It is already considered number one in new releases for other RPG games.
Amazing.
And its currently pre-release price is $9.99, and it's guaranteed. And this is the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. I'm a huge super fan of Marvel. I'm a huge super fan of superheroes.
Oh, heck yeah.
And right here in the Amazon description, it says, introducing the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game. Take on the roles of Marvel's most famous superheroes or create entirely new ones to fight some of the most dangerous supervillains in the Marvel Universe. Join Marvel and tabletop RPG fans alike in this upcoming playtest of Marvel's new game. Co-created by Matt Forbeck, the Marvel Encyclopedia, Dungeons & Dragons Endless Quest, and packed with illustrations by Marvel's amazing artists, the playtest rulebook features a subset of rules for the upcoming game, including character creation and combat. plus an introductory scenario and full profiles for some of the Marvel's greatest heroes: Spider-Man, Captain America, Captain Marvel, Wolverine, and more.
Amazing.
I'm going to pause here. There's just like a few more sentences. I'm surprised that they didn't put Wolverine first, but the fact is that Wolverine has been like the flagship character for Marvel for years.
Right. It's like him and Spider-Man.
Yeah. And the fact that, I mean, they still wiggled him in there, but they put him in last really shows where he is right now. And it makes me curious to see how Marvel's going to handle the cinematic universe with the X-Men, especially Wolverine's character. Because if you look at everything over the last 20 years, it's been Wolverine and the X-Men.
Yeah.
It's Wolverine is the driving character in so many things. And the Marvel Cinematic Universe has flourished and thrived without him.
Yeah.
You know, he's so many people's favorite character, and they've literally severed him from everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, ever since Fox kept going on and on with the movies and not wanting to give X-Men, the property X-Men back, that really drove a lot of things out the window. Throwing a lot of things out the window, I mean. And to my knowledge, I could be wrong, of course, there's a theory, I think, about the Eternals kind of connecting X-Men back, and they're going to have, like, not reboot X-Men, but a new generation, you know, kind of bringing it into the X-Men universe.
I can see that.
The closest thing that they've done was Quicksilver and WandaVision show.
Yeah, but
super cool that they did that.
There are people who haven't seen all that yet, so
spoilers.
You know, it's been long enough. We should be able to talk about it freely. But what they did with that, I thought was really interesting. They brought in the preferred version of Quicksilver, which I thought was really cool. And honestly, I think that they can totally keep him without issues if they're going to bring him back.
Right.
I don't think anybody's going to sweat it too much.
I don't think so either.
I really didn't like the MCU's Quicksilver.
The Age of Ultron Quicksilver, yeah. Like, I like the actor. I like him.
Yeah, he was kick-ass.
The execution, the accent, the costume design, the way they did the special effects and his abilities, how he got taken down by a bullet. It rubs me the wrong way.
Yep.
Like, no.
All right, so let's get to these last few sentences here. It says, with this playtest, to get started, all you need is the book, 3 regular dice. I think we believe regular dice are considered D6s.
That's funny they couldn't just say 3D6.
You know, who knows? And a group of friends. Players who grab the playtest rulebook will also have a chance to offer their official feedback on the rules and help shape the game for its full release.
Dude, I'm getting this. When we're done with tonight, I'm getting it.
Absolutely. And, I mean, at $10 for a 104-page playtest? Absolutely.
You'd be psychotic not to do it.
Absolutely. And, I mean, I think it's a huge push looking at the cover here. In fact, this is actually something that we haven't really done before. But when you look at the cover on this playtest, we see Miles Morales style Spider-Man, the black and red suit.
Yep.
Storm, Iron Man, Captain Marvel, Groot, Rocket Raccoon. Oh man, that looks like
that's Miss Marvel, I think.
Is it? I don't think so. That's Mjolnir.
Oh, is that in his hand?
Yep.
So
that looks like
that's a Thor character.
Yep. Wolverine, Captain America, Black Panther, and Peter Parker Spider-Man. So it takes all the most popular characters from the MCU right now.
Then you got Galactus in one corner, and looks like Kang the Conqueror in the other corner, kind of looking over everyone.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's something I'm really looking forward to. New games are really, really kicking up, dude.
How would your reaction be if it's just a modern, like, polish of the TSR original game?
Oh man.
Well, if they just took that and, like, let's actually decipher these chopped up sentences and
honestly, I think it'd be cool.
It'd be cool.
But I think the face rip system is considered really outdated. And while it is, it's also a very awesome pass-fail style. And I think it works in today's system of ease. You know, I know that I've talked briefly about using this system for my custom rule set, especially with my DBZ flavor. We got to look at it like the idea is the way the system works is you take a power rank. So let's say you have power rank poor, and the number on that is 10. So
Right.
you roll your percentiles, and you look on the chart. So poor 10, I rolled 95. It's green. It's a success. If it's a success, you do your power rank 10 worth of damage.
Gotcha.
So it's 10 points of damage.
A way to try to make it simple.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. But we have to be able to expand it from there, because just doing 10 points of damage every time is going to get kind of boring.
Yeah.
So
I agree with
it
you
has
there.
to have scalability to the fact that it's almost excessive, which is where I'm having an issue right now in drawing that line to keep things balanced. And this is something that you don't ever really think about when you're looking at building your own custom rules until you try it, is how to keep things balanced.
Yeah, it can be tricky. I
Yeah.
can definitely understand the struggle.
Absolutely. And you kind of, what I've found is you have to kind of start somewhere. And I'm going to continue to use my DBZ flavor because it's where I've started. I've chosen the pinnacle of the anime and the manga as a starting point with a Saiyan race.
Yeah.
You know, that's kind of where I start, and then I compare it to the individuals that they're fighting throughout the series, and then I scale appropriately. Now, obviously, humans don't keep up with the same power level.
Yeah, the strongest human in that franchise is Krillin, and you can see how he stacks up to everybody now.
Right. So,
It's sad, but it's
Right.
great.
so you have to be able to keep it balanced where, you
How
know...
can you play as a human in this game?
Right, because everyone's going to go for the overpowered, you know, everything you want kind of thing, and only people are going to play less powerful characters is for story.
Yeah, that's what it is. Kind of like the Star Wars game. Everyone's going to play as a Jedi or a Sith.
Right.
The only ones that's going to play as your Boba Fett's or your Han Solos is because they're just trying to do it, you know?
Right. And so...
You can't escape the allure.
Not at all. And you have to be able to keep them balanced enough in power without shortchanging the powerful players.
Yes.
But still staying true to the fact that these less powerful character races are still valid options.
Right.
And so you're like, well, geez, as these guys keep scaling, why would human be beneficial? And then I realized what I realized here is that I'm actually thinking about it incorrectly. And I don't need to modify the races. The races should have a core base to them that modify certain aspects of the character sheet.
Yeah.
But ultimately, the classes should be able,
That's what scales.
that should scale. So
Yeah.
that way, you can stay true to the game through classes, or you can go different directions and move from there. And
So then it's not really, oh, the human is weaker. It's the human, parentheses, this class I picked for him
Yes.
is why it's weaker.
yes,
That makes sense.
and I mean, when we look at how I'm gonna do this, I'll use the fact that Krillin and Goku both trained with Master Roshi, so I'll have the Turtle School, and the Turtle School will be ways that you can unlock the Kamehameha and Destructo Disc and the Solar Flare.
Is that where he learned the Kaioken?
He learned that from King Kai.
Ah, King Kai. Gotcha.
Now, in order to get to King Kai for your class, like a disciple of King Kai, a prereq has to be that you've died, just like in the show.
Just like in the show.
You have to be a good character.
Right.
And that's when you would get things like the Kaioken power-up and the Spirit Bomb attack, etc. And by having those classes there, you know, the prereq is you're good and you've died. Well, any character can reach that. Any character can do that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty easy for me just to fudge, like, I died. Oh, I guess I'm going to King Kai.
Right. And then looking at things like, well, then you have the Dragon Balls, which grants wishes and return to life, and sometimes it can take extended periods of time.
Right.
But that is all part of the storyteller's job.
Yeah.
You know, we put the mechanics in, the DM, the storyteller, he determines how to use those mechanics and when.
Exactly.
So the idea of balance, when I first started it, was overwhelming because how do I keep these things scaling on a continuous progression? And then I was like, well, honestly, I'm scaling the wrong things. I need to scale classes. Certain things should be set.
Yeah.
And the scalability comes from things that most people have access to. So I really like that idea. Yeah, honestly, truthfully, we've filled up all of our time talking about these different RPGs. And I want to put a call to action out here too, especially if you guys love superheroes like we do and love tabletop RPGs. Check out the Marvel Multiverse role-playing game, the playtest rulebook. Like it's $10 on Amazon right now.
It's a steal.
You know, we aren't affiliates. We're not going to get any reference money for telling you guys to pick this up. But the more people who play and give feedback will only develop a greater game.
Exactly.
So
it's kind of our duty to polish this.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, and
due diligence.
If you're a huge fan of superheroes and TTRPGs, definitely pick it up for $10, man. Free delivery by Tuesday, March 29th for Prime members.
Right now,
guys. Right now. All right. So I guess next time what we'll end up talking about is we'll start off with when to end a level, like what level to end a game at.
Yeah. So, we'll pick it up in the next episode next week.
Yes, sir. Next week. Guys, don't forget to check us out at epictablegames.com. You can also find us on Facebook with a private, not private. It's absolutely public. It's absolutely free to join and not a problem at Epic Table Games.
Bye.
Epic Table Games! Nights, roll, nights, fantastical, nights, fairy tales, dragons, stress, nights, roll, nights, fantastical, nights. Make way for the paladins, make way for the paladins. Epic Table Games! Make way for the paladins, make way for the paladins. Epic Table Games! Thank you for listening to the Epic Table audio show with the paladins of the podcast, Rob and Potato. Until next time, stay in touch on Facebook at Epic Table Games and online at epictablegames.com. Yeah.